Hi, this is Natalie Hoffman of FlyingFreeNow.com, and you're listening to the Flying Free Podcast, a support resource for women of faith looking for hope and healing from hidden emotional and spiritual abuse. Welcome to episode 236 of the Flying Free Podcast. Today, I'm giving my listeners a sneak peek into the book I'm writing. At the time of this recording, the first rough draft, called a vomit draft, is completed. It took me 6 months of intentional writing. I worked an average of 1 to 2 hours a day for 6 months. Some of those days I wrote for several hours, but the vomit draft is finally done. The next phase is rewriting, and the draft will go through several iterations. I will delete things, I'll add other things. I've got some beta readers who are helping me with these revisions, and I'm getting excited about what it will end up becoming when it's finished. My book chronicles my spiritual journey into ultra-conservative Christianity, including the whole Bill Gothard thing, Vision Forum, John Piper Calvinism, and so on. It also includes my deconstruction journey all the way through to where my faith has landed today. There are 4 parts to the book. I will tell you about parts 2, 3, and 4 down the road, but today I'm only going to give you a taste of part 1. There are 31 chapters in part 1. I know that sounds kind of scary, but these are all short vignettes that are very easy to read. They are written from the perspective of my little self because it's mostly my childhood that I'm writing about in part 1. I'm going to read the introduction to part 1 and the first 4 little vignettes. I hope you enjoy this sneak peek and that you'll be inspired to join me on this journey toward God. Introduction to part 1. Peter Levine, author of Waking the Tiger, Healing Trauma, wrote, "Trauma is not what happens to us, but what we hold inside in the absence of an empathetic witness. Every human being needs to be seen and known by another. This is how we experience love, connection. When a person experiences life alone, without anyone to see, hear, know, or understand what she has gone through, or even worse, when she is told by others that she made it all up in her head, or she's making a big deal out of nothing, or that she deserves it, she will experience trauma in her brain and body. That trauma will permeate and impact her entire life moving forward, unless she is able to metabolize it with an empathetic witness, both within herself and outside of herself. I've invited my younger self to tell part 1 of my story from her perspective. While her life on the outside would have appeared to be wholesome and full of love, she was missing an empathetic witness for many of her childhood experiences, and her body held the trauma inside of it where it sat like a heavy lead, influencing her thinking and her relationships in profound and confusing ways. Well, now, wait a minute. I had an empathetic witness. I don't remember a time when I wasn't aware of that big presence inside of me, like someone was watching me. When I was 7, I found out who it was, but it would take many more years for me to realize just how different that presence was from what I was taught by just about every other human in my life. But I think it is important to point out that this presence was my empathetic witness, and that made a difference. That kept me fighting to find the truth in the midst of a lot of liars, pants on fires. Sorry for interrupting, but I just had to say that. She's right. Little me usually is. All these years and experiences later, I have come to see that for me, the Spirit of Jesus has always been the empathetic witness I needed to process through the trauma and weave those experiences into something transcendent. Isn't that what Jesus promised when he said, "It is for your benefit that I am going away. Unless I go away, the advocate will not come to you. But if I go, I will send him to you." John 16:7. I offer this book to the many survivors of emotional and spiritual abuse who never had an empathetic witness and desperately needed one to process with, grieve with, and heal with. Here's mine. To me, he is Jesus, love, Creator God, my friend. This Spirit is in me, and this Spirit is in you, whether you have ever experienced it or not. What if we can clear some of the clouds of fear and shame away, even just a bit, so we can catch a glimpse of love inside you? It's there, I promise. I also offer this book to those readers who know and love humans. Your destiny is to continue the work of the great empathetic witness by offering your own eyes, ears, and heart to see and hear and love others as empathetic witnesses. This is love in action. This is how we heal ourselves and others. And this, dear friend, is how we change the world. Chapter 1. Surprise. They grin conspiratorially at me, and I am giddy with excitement. I love happy surprises, and while I've had my share of unhappy ones, like finding out sex was hell instead of heaven, surprise, losing a baby girl at 21 weeks, surprise, and getting excommunicated, surprise, I've also experienced 3 happy ones I'll never forget. A 16th surprise birthday party from my mom, a surprise treasure hunt at a mall which ended in a proposal from my first husband, and a surprising encounter with a childhood bully who would later become my second husband. And now, here I am with my family, about to experience another one. It's night, and after driving for a while, we pull up to an empty football stadium. No lights, no teams, no fans, nothing happening here. We get out of the car and make our way to the inside of the stadium, where the expansive space of a large football field yawns like an ominous throat cavity, sucking me into the center. I look around, feeling small. I can hardly make out anything but the mute stars observing from above and a shadowy wall of stadium seats encircling me. Sensing a shift in the atmosphere, I notice my mom and 2 sisters stepping away from me, leaving me standing alone in the center of the field, like a tiny dot of human flesh in a surreal work of dark art. An electric crackle, followed by a thunderous boom, breaks the silence as all the lights in the stadium turn on at the same time, spotlighting me, the center of attention. Surprise! I feel naked and naughty, and I don't know why. Suddenly, what is supposed to be something fun rapidly descends into impending doom. My heart is pounding as I look back, scanning the edge of the field, frantically trying to locate something to anchor me and pull me out of its gravitational center. I can still see my mom and sisters looking tiny and far away, their derisive laughter leaving no doubt in my mind that my hope for a lifeline was misplaced. They think my fear is funny. What is happening right now? I'm sinking into a panic as I turn from them to search the seats in the stadium, which I can now see are full of people who have been invited to this party celebrating all that I mean in this world and to each of them. It's like a satanic version of Sesame Street's "This is Your Life." Guy Smiley isn't here, but I see friends from kindergarten, Sunday school, summer camp, pioneer girls, and youth group. I see professors and old boyfriends and roommates and students I've taught. I see friends from junior high, high school, college, and church. I see 1,000 familiar faces of people I've loved, people I've feared, people I've trusted, and people I've hid from. And they're all laughing and pointing at me. Something hits me and tears away a hunk of flesh on my leg. I look down to see a large rock, and understanding washes over me. I know the meaning of my existence now. I see what everyone else has known all along, but that I was too afraid to admit. Surprise! I wake up sweating and shaking and crying. I am no stranger to nightmares, but this didn't feel like just another dream. This one felt real. This one would haunt me, not for days or weeks or months, but for years. Until one day, this dream would come true. Surprise. Chapter 2, The Get Out of Hell Free Card. Into my heart, come into my heart, Lord Jesus, come in today, come in to stay, come into my heart, Lord Jesus. I'm walking down the hall of an old church in white patent leather shoes and a hand-crocheted jumper. This big dark building is not like the little neighborhood church my family walks to on Sunday mornings with the sun streaming in the big windows and the little nursery full of cute chubby babies. St. Timothy's. I never met St. Timothy, but I liked his church. This is Carrie's church, and it's called Souls Harbor, which is a weird name. Carrie is the neighborhood girl my mom babysits, and the grown-ups drop us off in a room full of kids I've never seen before. They're not from my school, and I feel butterflies in my stomach. Carrie and I find seats in the middle of a row and sit down. I briefly consider crawling under my chair to hide, but I know the teacher would get mad at me, and I want her to like me. She starts talking, so I settle in. This is church, and I know what to do in church. I will show her how good I am. She's talking about heaven and hell and how Jesus loves the whole wide world and how he's got the whole thing in his hands. I can feel the stifled energy of the kids around me packed in rows like a roll of Smarties candy, all of us wishing we were home eating bologna sandwiches with lots of butter. But when she announces that everyone is going to hell, to burn forever and ever, amen, in the everlasting fires with the demons because God is so holy he can't look at any of us wretched sinners, my ears perk up. This is important information. Pay attention. I have bad dreams almost every night, even though I pray really hard to God to make them go away. And now I am concerned this fire and the demons who live in it will find me when I go to sleep that night. I feel both horror and a twinge of morbid excitement. But then her face brightens as she tells us, there is good news. Jesus loved the whole wide world so much that he died and went to hell so we wouldn't have to. And then 3 days later, up from the grave he arose with a mighty triumph o'er his foes. He beat the devil at his own game, and now if people will just invite him into their heart, they can go to heaven instead of hell. That's it? Sounds like an amazing offer, and all I have to do is pray a prayer? Sign me up. And as if the teacher is reading my mind, she says, would anyone like to pray this prayer with me in the hallway and invite Jesus into your heart? I immediately raise my hand. This is a no-brainer. I don't know any of these people besides Carrie, who I don't trust because she made me slide into a tree and slice up my face a few months ago, and I worry the other kids might think I'm dumb, but the thought of having to burn forever and ever in hell is unpleasant. I can tell the teacher is delighted when she sees my hand in the air. I've pleased her and she likes me. My heart feels warm and my stomach is fluttering wildly. We walk out the door to the hallway and I wonder why I'm the only one taking her up on the offer of a ticket to heaven. The rest must have already invited Jesus into their hearts. Makes sense. They are used to the Souls Harbor way and I'm not. Nobody at St. Timothy's told us this important information, so I didn't know about the Get Out of Hell Free card, but thank God I do now. Let's do this. She prays a prayer while I bow my head and close my eyes and fold my hands to make double certain sure it will work. Prayer is serious business. When she's done, she gives me a tiny white book. It's like a Dolly's book, a miniature Bible with some Bible verses in it. The words are in large print, but the book is itty bitty and so cute. My dolls are going to love it. I hold it in awe. I didn't know I'd be getting a gift, and I am thrilled by this happy surprise. This is a big day. I feel the weight of it. I know that something has just happened, and now Jesus lives in my heart. Plus, a pretty teacher is pleased with me. I'm not going to hell, and I have a tiny white book. It's a miracle. I will never forget this day as long as I live. I was with you when you were being formed in your mother's womb, and I will be with you for all eternity. Nothing is ever going to separate you from my love, precious one. I will always rejoice over you with singing, now and forever. Is this content resonating with you? I've written a book for women of faith in destructive relationships called Is It Me? Making Sense of Your Confusing Marriage, a Christian woman's guide to hidden emotional and spiritual abuse. You can read reviews and find out more about my book on Amazon.com. It comes in paperback, Kindle, and Audible formats. I've also created a companion workbook for Is It Me, also available on Amazon. This workbook is like 11 power-packed therapy sessions to help you process through the important material you'll be learning from my book. These books are recommended by counselors and therapists all over the United States. I've also got a website specifically focused on helping women of faith find hope and healing. It's called flyingfreenow.com, and I'd love to give you the first chapter of my book and the first chapter of the companion workbook for free when you hop on my mailing list at the top of my website. Those two resources are going to help you figure out if your relationship is normal or destructive. Now, let's get back to our episode. Chapter 3, Bad Dreams. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. I'm burning up in bed, a beaded mustache of sweat on my lip. I've got my stuffed animals lined up on both sides of my double bed to protect me from monkey demons that might crawl up the sides. They live under my bed and come out at night. But here's the thing. They can't get past stuffed animals, so as long as there are no breaks in the line, I'm good to go. Except I'm not, because as soon as I fall asleep, I will enter into a world of terror where I get chased by monster horses. 1 minute I'm living a normal life, and all of a sudden the lights go out and a loud voice starts counting backward from 10. 10, 9, 8, like that. If I don't get the Sam heck out of there before the voice says 1, I am a goner. Sometimes, if I figure out I'm dreaming soon enough, I can fly away. But even when I'm flying, it's dark, and there are vast amounts of space that hold a different terror. So another strategy I've learned is to blink my eyes hard enough to wake myself up. But even after I'm awake, I will lay in bed, my body sweating and my heart pounding, and try hard not to fall asleep again. Please, dear Jesus, don't let me have bad dreams. Please, dear Jesus, don't let me have bad dreams. Now that I have Jesus living in my heart, maybe he will be able to hear me better and help me if I'm good. I try hard to be good during the day, so when I need him the most, he will answer my prayers with a yes instead of a no or a non-committal maybe. Please, dear Jesus, don't let me have bad dreams. Please, dear Jesus, don't let me have bad dreams. If I say it enough, and if I believe hard enough, and if I've been good enough, he will help me. When I have a stretch of sleep without any bad dreams, I thank him. I thank him a lot. I want him to know I am very and most extremely grateful. If I'm thankful enough, he will perhaps help me again the next night. I will be the most grateful girl he has ever helped. I will make him so, so happy and so, so pleased that he has helped me, that he will be inspired to offer a repeat performance of his miracles the next night. He needs to know he can count on a thankful heart from this girl for sure. When I do have bad dreams, I know it is not his fault. It is mine. It's most likely one of two problems. Either one, I wasn't a good girl that day, or two, I didn't pray hard enough or with enough faith. Oh, me of little faith. He couldn't help but have to allow the bad dreams that night, probably because I got mad at my little sister the day before. Or it could have been because I didn't like something at dinner and said so. I'm not a very grateful girl, and also I bawl. Also, I'm lazy. I'd rather die than wipe dishes. I want so much to be a good girl, but I keep not liking things like naps and hockey puck hamburgers that have no flavor. I want to weep forever when I have to have either. Sometimes I get selfish and want something super bad, like my very own bicycle. It's definitely not God's fault if I'm naughty and have bad dreams. And I would never in a million years think it was. He would not like that, and it might make him give me worse dreams just to teach me a lesson if he thought I thought so, because he loves me so much and he knows lessons are important. There is nothing wrong with God Almighty. No siree. But there is something seriously wrong with me. Tonight, I will say I'm sorry and pray extra hard. You live in a chaotic world, sweet girl, and it's hard to make sense of it. I am so sorry you feel alone and afraid at night. I am right here with you, I promise. You are a little girl doing everything you can think of to keep yourself safe. You have a big heart and a curious mind, and I am so proud of how you are growing. Chapter 4. Devoted. All to Jesus I surrender, all to him I freely give. I will ever love and trust him, in his presence daily live. I surrender all, I surrender all to thee, my precious Savior, I surrender all. If I could pick one word to describe my mom, it would be devoted. She is devoted to being a stay-at-home mother, devoted to her daughters, devoted to her husband, devoted to her church, devoted to her God, devoted to her clean home, and devoted to what is right and true. Mom and I got converted within a few days of each other. I know because she started talking a lot about Jesus and the Bible. If Jesus came into my heart like a whisper, he came into hers like a roaring lion. She reads her big Schofield study Bible and listens to hymns and sermons on the radio every day, all day long. She loves Jesus, and he loves her right back and tells her everything there is to know. She gives me a Bible that belonged to my great-grandma. It smells old and has pages so thin I think they might dissolve in between my fingers when I turn them. They easily wrinkle, and I worry I'll wreck it. I especially like the indentation marks where each new book starts, so I can easily find all the books of the Bible, which comes in handy in Sunday school or Pioneer Girls when we are asked to look up Bible verses in a speedy way. I wonder if this is cheating, but nobody says anything. Mom has me read a chapter from my Bible every day, and she also gives me little books with short stories about people who obey God. Every day, I read my Bible chapter and a short story. This is called Daily Devotionals, and she says this is like putting on my spiritual perfume. I always remember to put on my spiritual perfume because I definitely want to smell like Jesus. This is how other people will get their ticket out of hell, after all. The more I smell like Jesus, the more they will want to ask Jesus into their heart so they can do devotionals and smell like Jesus too. One day the whole world will smell beautiful. I will do my part. We have moved into a new house my mom keeps neat as a pin, and this means we had to leave St. Timothy's and the Lutherans behind us. We are now going to a cute little evangelical free church. But it's not totally free. They still take a collection every Sunday morning and Sunday night. But it is a friendly church, and it feels like family. Mom found out she has the gift of being a prophet, and this means she knows right from wrong better than other Christians who do not have this gift. If she uses her gift like God wants her to, she will tell people when they are doing wrong things, which is important to keep everything on the right track and make the world go round correctly and all that. That's what the prophets did in the Old Testament, so she is carrying out the same mission in obedience to God. If God calls you, you must listen and obey. Don't ask questions. He knows best. Stop and think about it. What would happen if the prophets didn't obey him? That would be the worst. All hell and perdition would break loose on the planet. My mom is tiny, but she's a force to be reckoned with, so I can see why God has chosen my devoted little mother for this fiery job, and I'm proud of her. There aren't very many girl prophets in the Bible, so to be a girl prophet is pretty special. And plus, my mom always keeps her promises and does exactly what she says she will do. I can count on my mom to keep everything in ship shape no matter what. He made a smart choice. My mom doesn't just keep all her wisdom to herself. She generously shares it with anyone who loves wisdom. She studies and prays and thinks about wise things every day while I'm in school. And when I get home, she gives me fresh desserts straight from the oven and teaches me what she learns. Her voice is excited to talk about things, and I truly believe she is the voice of God in our family and church. He talks straight to her because she listens and obeys. I don't know anyone else as devoted to God as my mother is, and I hope I will be as devoted to God as she is when I grow up. Because of my mom, I feel like our family is special and God is extra close to us, even though my dad drinks beer. My love, I am devoted to you now and forever. I am also devoted to your mom and your dad and your sisters. You are all my little lovies, and my heart bursts with joy over you. Your devotion will wax and wane, and that's okay. It is my never-failing devotion that will hold every single one of you in my love, no matter what. Hey, beautiful butterfly. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked this episode, be sure to subscribe and then consider leaving a rating and review so others can find us. To connect with me and get a free chapter of my book, head over to flyingfreenow.com. And until next time, fly free.